The night Maya Johnson spent her last $8, she thought she was making the worst financial decision of her life. She had exactly enough money left to buy a loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, and milk to get her and her little brother through the weekend. Rent was overdue. Their electricity bill sat unopened on the kitchen table because she already knew what it said. Her 17-year-old dreams had long been replaced by survival. But standing under the harsh white lights of a gas station at nearly midnight, watching a large biker collapse beside his motorcycle while everyone else walked away in fear, Maya made a choice that would change her life forever. What happened the very next morning left an entire neighborhood speechless. Before we begin, if you believe kindness still matters in this world and that everyone deserves a second chance, take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories that restore faith in humanity. Maya lived in a struggling neighborhood on the edge of Atlanta with her 10-year-old brother, Jamal. Their mother had passed away 2 years earlier after losing her battle with cancer, and their father had disappeared long before that. Since then, Maya had become everything to Jamal, his sister, guardian, protector, and provider. By day, she attended community college part-time, desperately trying to hold on to her dream of becoming a nurse. By night, she worked long shifts cleaning offices downtown. Sleep had become a luxury she rarely enjoyed. That Friday night had already been brutal. Her manager had cut her hours. Her landlord had taped an eviction warning to their apartment door. Jamal's school had called because he needed money for a field trip he desperately wanted to attend. Maya smiled through every hardship because she refused to let her little brother feel how close they were to losing everything. After finishing her late shift, Maya stopped at a gas station to buy groceries with her final $8. She carefully counted every coin and dollar bill in her wallet while calculating what she could afford. Bread, eggs, milk, nothing more. That was when she heard the crash. A massive Harley-Davidson motorcycle slid sideways near pump number 6. The rider hit the pavement hard. The sound echoed across the station. Customers froze for a second before quickly turning away. Some jumped into their cars and drove off. Others whispered nervously after noticing the patch on the fallen rider's leather vest. Hell's Angels. The man looked terrifying. He was tall, broad-shouldered, covered in tattoos, with a gray beard and scars that made him look like someone people crossed the street to avoid. Blood trickled from his forehead as he struggled to breathe. The gas station clerk locked the front door from inside. Nobody moved, nobody except Maya. Her heart pounded as she ran toward him. Fear screamed at her to stay back, but something stronger pushed her forward. She dropped her grocery basket and knelt beside the man. His skin looked pale. His hands trembled violently. She realized he wasn't drunk. He was diabetic. Years earlier, her mother had suffered diabetic emergencies, and Maya recognized the signs immediately. She sprinted inside the gas station, begging the terrified clerk to unlock the door. He refused. So Maya spent every dollar she had at the vending machine outside. She bought orange juice, candy bars, and bottled water with her last $8. She rushed back and helped the man drink the juice slowly. Minutes passed like hours. Eventually, his breathing stabilized. His shaking eased. His eyes opened. Tears filled Maya's eyes from pure relief. The biker looked at her with confusion before noticing the empty wrappers beside him. He asked why she helped him when everyone else ran. Maya simply shrugged and said her mother taught her that helping someone in pain should never depend on what they look like. The biker introduced himself as Frank. He quietly admitted he had been traveling to visit his estranged daughter after years of regret and bad choices. He had diabetes but skipped meals, trying to save gas money for the trip. His blood sugar crashed before he could make it. Maya helped him sit up and refused his attempts to repay her. She didn't mention that the money she spent meant she and Jamal would go hungry that weekend. Frank noticed her worn shoes, her exhausted eyes, and the groceries she had left behind. Before leaving, he asked where she lived. Maya hesitated, but eventually gave him only the name of her apartment complex. She assumed she would never see him again. The next morning, Maya woke up to loud engines shaking the walls of her apartment building. At first, she panicked. Dozens of residents rushed to their windows. Then came the screams. Over 100 motorcycles rolled into the apartment complex parking lot. Leather jackets, massive bikes, Terrified parents pulled children indoors. Neighbors called police. Maya looked out her window and nearly collapsed when she saw Frank standing at the front. And behind him were over 100 bikers. Jamal clutched her arm in fear as the bikers approached their building. Maya slowly opened the front door. Frank stepped forward carrying a small wooden box. Then something nobody expected happened. The giant biker removed his sunglasses and tears streamed down his face. He told Maya that after she saved his life, he made it to see his daughter for the first time in 20 years. He learned she had been struggling financially too, raising 2 children alone. Seeing Maya sacrifice her final dollars for a stranger forced him to realize how selfish he had been for most of his life. That night changed him. But there was more. Frank explained that his biker club wasn't what people assumed. Many members were former addicts, veterans, and broken men trying to rebuild their lives. They had heard Maya's story and wanted to thank her. One biker stepped forward carrying bags of groceries. Then another brought new furniture. Another handed Jamal a brand new laptop. A woman from a biker charity group presented Maya with a fully paid scholarship to finish nursing school. Maya stood frozen. Then Frank opened the wooden box. Inside was the deed to a small 3-bedroom house. Maya thought she was dreaming. Frank explained that years earlier he had purchased the property as an investment and forgotten about it. After what Maya did, he knew exactly who deserved it. The home was fully paid off. No rent, no eviction notices, no fear. Maya dropped to her knees, sobbing as Jamal hugged her. The entire apartment complex watched in stunned silence as hardened bikers wiped tears from their eyes. Even the police officers who arrived lowered their guard after realizing what was happening. But the biggest surprise came weeks later. Maya moved into her new home and began nursing school full-time. One afternoon, she received a call from a local news station. The gas station security footage of her helping Frank had gone viral after an employee anonymously shared it online. Millions watched her act of kindness. Donations poured in from around the country. Instead of keeping all the money, Maya started a nonprofit organization that helped families facing eviction, hunger, and medical emergencies. Frank became one of her biggest volunteers. Together, they traveled across cities helping struggling families. The same man people once feared became known for saving lives alongside the young woman who had once saved his. Years later, Maya graduated at the top of her nursing class while earned a scholarship to college. At her graduation ceremony, over 100 bikers arrived again, but this time wearing suits. They stood and applauded louder than anyone. Frank sat in the front row crying like a proud father. Maya looked at the crowd and realized one small act of kindness had created a ripple effect she never could have imagined. She had given away her last $8, and in return, life gave her a future. But more importantly, she learned that kindness can break stereotypes, heal broken hearts, and transform lives in ways no one expects. Before we end, if this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in miracles, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you saw that biker lying on the ground that night? Maya once believed she was poor because she had only $8 left in the world. But that night proved she was richer than many people could ever dream of becoming. Because true wealth is measured by the size of your heart, and sometimes the smallest act of kindness can return as the biggest blessing of your life. Months after Maya's story went viral, life finally felt stable for the first time in years, but peace didn't last long. The small house Frank had gifted her became more than just a home. It became a symbol of hope in a neighborhood where hope had been rare. Jamal had his own room for the first time in his life. Maya attended nursing school during the day and worked part-time at a local clinic at night. Their refrigerator stayed full. The eviction notices were gone. For the first time since their mother died, Maya allowed herself to believe life was getting better. But blessings often attract attention from the wrong people. One rainy evening, Maya returned home after class and noticed an expensive black SUV parked outside her house. 2 men in expensive suits stood at her front porch. Their smiles looked polished, but something about them felt cold. They introduced themselves as representatives of a real estate development company. They claimed the neighborhood had become valuable and they were buying properties in the area. They offered Maya cash for her home. far more money than she had ever seen in one place. But Maya refused immediately. That house wasn't just property. It was the first real security she and Jamal had ever known. The men left politely. 3 days later, someone shattered her front windows. The week after that, graffiti appeared on her walls. Then her electricity was mysteriously shut off. Maya tried to stay calm for Jamal, but fear returned to her life. One night, she found a threatening letter in her mailbox, warning her to sell before things got worse. She reported everything to the police, but without evidence, little could be done. Frank was furious. The moment he saw the broken windows, his face turned stone cold. He promised Maya she wouldn't face this alone. He quietly began investigating through old connections he had spent years trying to leave behind. What he discovered shocked everyone. The development company was secretly forcing low-income families out of the neighborhood to build luxury apartments. They used intimidation, threats, and property damage to scare homeowners into selling cheap. Maya wasn't their first target. She was simply the one who refused to break. Frank gathered members of his biker club, but this time they didn't come with gifts. They came with evidence. Several bikers worked construction jobs and uncovered forged housing documents tied to the company. Another member had security experience and obtained surveillance footage showing hired men vandalizing Maya's home. Meanwhile, Maya kept focusing on school while secretly terrified every night. Then things became truly dangerous. One evening, Jamal didn't come home from basketball practice. Maya called his coach. Panic exploded inside her when she learned Jamal had left over an hour earlier. She searched the neighborhood, screaming his name. Frank immediately mobilized dozens of bikers. Motorcycles spread across the city, searching every street. Hours later, one biker spotted Jamal locked inside an abandoned warehouse. The kidnappers had planned to scare Maya into signing over her house. They didn't expect 100 furious bikers to surround the building. Police arrived just as Frank and his men blocked every possible exit. Jamal was rescued unharmed. The kidnappers were arrested. The evidence exposed the development company's criminal operation. Executives were charged with conspiracy, kidnapping, fraud, and intimidation. The story exploded across national headlines once again. Maya became a national symbol of resilience, but the emotional damage lingered. Jamal struggled with nightmares after the kidnapping. Maya blamed herself for putting him in danger. She considered selling the house and leaving everything behind. Then Jamal said something that changed everything. He reminded Maya that their mother always taught them not to run from people who do wrong. He said their home represented every family fighting to survive. Maya realized he was right. Instead of leaving, she fought back in a different way. Using donations from supporters nationwide, Maya expanded her nonprofit into a national housing protection organization that helped families facing predatory developers. Lawyers volunteered. Communities united. Families kept their homes. Frank became head of community outreach, using his intimidating appearance for something positive. Ironically, the same people who once judged him now invited him to speak at schools, churches, and community centers about redemption and second chances. Years later, Maya stood in front of thousands at a national charity event. Behind her sat Jamal, now a successful attorney specializing in housing justice. Frank sat beside him, older and weaker from health issues, but smiling proudly. Maya looked at the crowd and thought about that gas station night, for $8? That was all she had? $8 that could have bought temporary comfort. Instead, she chose compassion, and compassion returned multiplied beyond imagination. As Frank's health declined, Maya cared for him like family. When he passed away peacefully years later, thousands attended his funeral. Rows of motorcycles stretched for miles. Doctors, teachers, police officers, veterans, single mothers, and children stood beside bikers to honor the man they once feared. In his final letter to Maya, Frank wrote that she saved him twice. First at the gas station, then by showing him he could still become a better man. Maya framed that letter in her office. Every time life became difficult, she read it again. Before this story ends, if this journey moved you even a little, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness changes lives, and subscribe for more unforgettable stories. And before we say goodbye, comment below. Do you believe one small act of kindness can truly change someone's destiny? Maya's story proves that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear worn-out shoes, carry heavy burdens, and still choose kindness when life gives them every reason not to. And that choice can echo for generations.